Hello, I'm Romijn, an acupuncturist and zero balancer at Vineyard Complementary Medicine, and I'm going to introduce to you today a Qigong exercise to work with harmonizing the arms and the legs with the torso. In Asia, we talk about it as harmonizing the five bows. So this comes from a martial Taoist meditation background. This can help support you in enhancing your PT exercises. It can support you in aligning with your own craniosacral rhythm, which is the cerebral spinal fluid flowing from the skull down to the sacrum and back up. And that rhythm typically is 8 to 12 beats per minute, which is about 6 to 8 seconds. So fluid in the skull goes down the dural tube in the spine to the sacrum over 6 to 8 seconds. And then it flows back up over 6 to 8 seconds. So the purpose of this is to align our limbs with that flow, so it can help everything. So I'd like to show you a movement. I'm going to have JoJo here stand up for a moment. And basically there are dantian in the martial arts system. There is a lower dantian in the center of the pelvic bowl, so right about in the center here. There's a middle dantian in the center of the chest, and an upper dantian in the skull. And that aligns with our Western system of the 5 cavities of the lower cavity, the pelvis, abdominal cavity, thoracic cavity, cranial cavity, and the dural tube is the 5th cavity. So this is a really east-west integrative exercise. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop first, have feet parallel, and then we're going to release the knees, so the knees come forward. The sits bones, which are the bottom where when you sit, your pelvic bone meets the surface you're sitting on, the sits bones. We're going to drop the sits bones down over the heels. When that happens, it flattens the low back. And then we're going to bring the tips of the scapulae down over the iliac crest. Eyes on the horizon. So imagine the horizon there. So you'll notice that your weight is in your heels, so equalize your weight on your feet. So then we have a flat low back, tips over crest, eyes on the horizon, sits over heels. So that's the position. And then what we're going to do is from that position, it's as if we're sitting in a saddle on a horse. We're going to then lift up into the front part of the body, into the sternum and into the forehead. Lifting up into the sternum and forehead. So going from here, see how the low back flexes? We're coming into the inside edge of the forehead and the inside edge of the sternum. Up into the front side of the body. And then we're going to release the knees, bring your sits bones over your heels, tips of your scapulae over the iliac crest, eyes on the horizon. So now we're in the back of the body, flat and low back, knees are released. So release the knees, soften them. Good. Perfect. Great. Tips over crest, eyes on the horizon. Try to flatten the low back a little bit. There we go. Great. So then there's a back position. And then back up into the front position, up into the inside edge of the sternum and the forehead. And then back into the back position. So we do that, and we try to go 6 to 8 seconds up. 6, 7, 6 to 8 seconds down. 6, 7, and back up. So front body over 6 to 8 seconds. Back body over 6 to 8 seconds. So continue that for a little bit. So cranial fluid comes up. Cranial fluid comes down. Back up. And back down. So we have that movement that's basically trying to match the craniosacral rhythm. And then once we get a flow of that, relaxing the whole time, then we're going to bring the arms along for the ride. So we're going to harmonize the upper bows with the lower bows and with the dantian. So hands rise up as we rise up. Hands drop down as we drop down. Flattening the low back, good. And then back up, extending the low back up in the forehead and the sternum, and then flattening the low back as you draw it down. Good, so the key to this is keeping the lumbar spine flexible. That's like the elixir of youth. For much of our population, we're stabilizing the lumbar back, and that leads to old age. We don't have to go there necessarily. So we're up into the forehead, back into the sacrum. So up into the forehead, the cranium. It's the craniosacral rhythm, back into the sacrum. 6 to 8 seconds. And then once we lift up, I've done that a little bit, bring the hands out. So if you can face me now, and just switch over this way. So we've lifted up, and then we're going to drop the arms down. So now we're connecting with the dantian, and the arms will stay out like that. And you're basically in that seated position. Good, great. You can feel along here, engaging through the wingspan, and then we're going to engage up and out here, like this. Remember, sits are down, over the heels, flatten low back, tips over crest, eyes on the horizon. And then we're going to engage out. Palms are down. Soften elbows, but engage right through the wingspan. Great. Actually works with the hollow organs, the digestive organs, the small intestine and colon. And then we're going to engage down through the little finger, down through here, and then lift up the top of the sternum. It's called the manubrium in response. And still the low back's flat. So flatten the low back a little bit. Back into my hand a little bit more, a little more, a little more. Good. Good. So here we're engaging out. We're lifting up in response. So we hold that for 30 seconds each. And then orient the palms toward the center of the pelvic bowl, which is the lower dantian. Again, flatten the low back. Maybe turn this way. Great. And then flatten the low back there, please. Hands are oriented right toward the center of the pelvic bowl. The lower dantian is the center of the pelvic bowl. It's our connection to ourself, the stability we've created in our life, and our connection at the same time to the center of the earth.